Hello, Michael. I've seen you in the chat. Can you pop the link in the main chat for me, please? Yeah, it is. It starts at the end of this month, Anthony. We're just doing some pre-season races so the drivers can get used to the game and we can test whether the simulation damage works, pretty much. Right, let's roll. Get to test out this fucking spectator feature for the first time properly. See if it's actually any good. Right, okay. Do I not get any delta times come up or anything while they're driving? Because if I don't, that's annoying. It means I've got to go on spectator cam or race director. Oh well. Let's see who the eagerest beaver of the F3 drivers is. Newest additions to the league, all of these guys. bit rude there, Falcon. Thank you for that. Oh, and another one. Fuck's sake. The knobs have joined the chat. Sergeant Sway, first guy out on track. One of the guys who seems quite strong from the early pace in time trial. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of times he does. See who else has joined him out on track. ZR Mercedes in the Mercedes, that's convenient. Just those two at the moment. I thought he was talking to me. This is like, to be fair, I'm probably more likely to race here than Max is. Antonio's coming out as well in the Ferrari. Hungary Tadpole's also out on track in the Renault. Yeah, Mike, do remember that F3 isn't actually sorted on pace. F1 and F2 are, F3 isn't. Oh, Mercedes going a bit slow. Sergeant Sway going to be the first guy to start a lap. Coming around the final corner now. Why we immediately got a rear wing camera? I don't understand that. Please tell me the spectator cameras get better than this. We get our first time from some of the F3 guys around Hungary, and it's Sergeant Sway who has done a 28.0 in the first sector. See if ZR Mercedes can do any better. 27.7 from ZR Mercedes, much faster. 3/10 already improvement in the first sector. So Mercedes currently the fastest guy in sector 1. Sergeant Sway running very wide there, coming out of the middle sector. Final corner of the middle sector. And we'll see what time he does for the middle sector. So it's just to gauge an idea of where people sit in this league, like who the people to watch out for. It's a good indication for that. 28.7 middle sector from Sway. 28.3 from Mercedes. So he's already looking almost a second faster than Sergeant Sway, who's abandoned his lap and let ZR Mercedes go through and finish his. ZR Mercedes first guy to put a lap on the board, and it's a 1 minute 18.5. Quite a competitive lap time around here. It's faster than... I think that's probably about as quick as I've done in time trial, but I've only done 1 lap round here, so I can't really judge. Clyde Balloon's losing the back end in the Haas. Don't know whether he's on a flying lap or an installation lap. Well, that's interesting. Antonio's car was through the floor there. I don't know what was going on there. Impact Insect is out. Well, clearly I didn't, Mike, otherwise I'd be dead right now. Thank you for your input anyway. See if anybody else has put a lap in. Hungary Tadpoles has done an invalid 1 minute 19.1. Antonios looks like he's had a very poor middle sector, so he abandoned his lap. That's why he was going off to Narnia in the second last corner. Golsey with an invalid 120.6. Sergeant Sway looks like he's on a much faster lap this time around. 27.9 first sector, 28 flat. Try and get Sergeant Sway as he goes across. Mr. Costa's just done a 117.9. Sergeant Sway half a second slower than that. Mr. Costa definitely the one to watch out for. He seems the fastest guy. I think he's in the top 10 around a couple of tracks on time trial. So showing a lot of pace. 117.999 and is already 2/10 up in the first sector. Mr. Costa flying around the track at the moment. See if he gains or loses time in the middle sector. Another PB middle sector, only by a tenth, but he's currently 3/10 up on his best. This could be a mid 117 here for Mr. Costa, as long as he doesn't bottle this final sector. And another PB 117.716 from Mr. Costa. 2/10 improvement on that lap compared to his last one. As Jack Tyler joins, he'll be able to join for the race. He'll just miss qualifying. The only problem with this spectator cam for qualifying is I've no idea who's on laps and who's looking like they're going quick. Shumi Garcia on soft tyres has just put in a good first sector. In the Haas. No, in the Red Bull, sorry. Behind the Haas of Cloudy Balloons. Let's go back onto Shumi, see what kind of time he's done in the second sector. He's invalid on this lap anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. Hungary Tadpole's going for a very long run on those super softs. He's already on his 4th lap. ZR Mercedes is putting in 18.5 still. Probably back in the pit lane. 18.5 from Sergeant Sway as well. But already making... Oh, well, was a 10th up in sector 1 and then abandoned the lap. Must have bottled it somewhere in the middle sector. Mr. Costa's on an in lap as well. See the Hungry Tadpoles is on a lap. Oh, definitely not now. He's lost it. He's got too much curve into the second last corner. Completely lost the back end, and he's going to dive into the pits to fit some fresh tyres. Antonios, the Greek driver in the Ferrari. Got a lot to live up to for Greek drivers in this league. Of course, with George Alice and Mike. Both very quick drivers. He's got a lot to live up to. Okay, this is going to be his first proper lap. Yeah, F1 trial on Tuesday. We've got an F2 trial tomorrow as well. Yeah, but George Ellis was in last season. Like we had Nikos as well last season. They were both pretty quick. I know he's not now, but he was. It's Nikos that isn't. I'm pretty sure he put a time trial lap of around Baku or something like that. See what kind of lap Antonios can do. Not been paying too much attention to this lap, to be honest. We'll see where he'll go. This is going to be his first flying lap posted on the board. First time on the board for Antonios. Puts him P5. Puts him ahead of Shumi Garcia, Cloudy Balloons, Golsey, and Impact Insec. 1 minute 19.4. ZR Mercedes has just pipped Sergeant Sway to second place with a 118.2. Only, I say only, half a second off the pace of Mr. Costa out front. Sergeant Sway on track as well, about to start his lap, or is he about to finish one? He's about to start one, I think. Yes, he is. He's getting on board with this lap from Sergeant Sway. He's got 3 tenths to find. Running very wide out of turn 1. He's already abandoned the lap after the mistake out of turn 1. Mr. Costa back out on track. Is he on a flyer? Judging by the way he took turn 4, no. Judging by the fact that he's ghosted, I'm assuming he's AI. Mr. Costa about to start his lap. He's been AI for his entire out lap. Current leader of the standings. Mr. Costa currently fastest guy on track. He's got a 1:17.7 to beat. Sergeant Sway's got himself back into second by the looks of that. No, he hasn't. He's still third. I'm just blind. Nice. I got new glasses as well. I'm still blind. Just 15 seconds left in the qualifying session. Of course, only 12-minute qualifying on this game, as opposed to the 18 we had before. A bit of a wide entry into 5 there for Mr. Costa. Oh, very wide out of 6 and 7. That's the lap over, and he's out of the session as well. Nice simulation damage, working well there. Golsey taking his time in the Ferrari. This is his last chance to put in a lap to put him higher than currently 8th where he sits at the moment. Cloudy Balloons is out. Is Golsey going to improve on his previous best? Yes, Michael, I do. Did you not notice? No, Golsey does not improve and stays P8. Shumi Garcia goes up into 3rd. Right at the end of the session, Shumi Garcia puts in a 1:18.274. And ZR Mercedes has put in a 1:17.8. Which does only put him a 10th off of Mr. Costa. And Sergeant Sway's bottled his final attempt as well, so he's going to be P4. Allows Hungary Tadpoles to go through to finish his lap, even though Hungary Tadpoles is already finished in this session. So that'll be the end of the session. Mr. Costa fastest with a 1:17.7. ZR Mercedes 1:17.8. Shumi Garcia 1:18.2. Sergeant Sway 1:18.5. Hungry Tadpoles 1:18.5. Antonios 1:19.4. Cloudy Balloons 1:19.7. Golsey a 1:20 flat. And Impact Insect didn't set a time and crashed out at the end of the session. So a nice little array of times there. But we don't, through just one track, we don't know who exactly is going to be the fastest over the entirety of the season, because some of these drivers could have sweated time trial quite drastically for this, and others might not have. Just waiting for Sergeant Sway to retire, and then we should be good to go. There we go. Nice voice crack, Jesus Christ. Mr. Costa 96, 1:17.7. ZR Mercedes 1:17.8, just a 10th off. Shumi Garcia half a 10th off the pole. Sergeant Sway 8 tenths and only just faster than Hungry Tadpoles in 5th. And then a little bit of a gap to Antonios, Cloudy Balloons and Golsey with Impact Insect failing to set a time. Nobody heard that voice crack I did before. What do you mean, nice thumbnail? What do you mean, nice thumbnail? I haven't made a thumbnail for this. Oh, heavy rain for the race. I had no idea about this. I wish Spectator Cam could be a bit more immersive in that and could tell you exactly what the weather forecast is going to be. Bit of a shame that it doesn't. But heavy rain is really going to spice this up. Yeah, that's a banner. Why is my banner my thumbnail? What the fuck? It's meant to be my profile image. It's a bit weird. Can I actually have a camera of the start? There we go. Jesus. I know we're only on formation lap, but I was on the pit lane. Yep, Jack Tyler has got into the session. So we've got 10 drivers to start this race. Oh, there's been contact with Impact Insec and Jack Tyler on the formation lap, both in the wall, both disqualified from the formation lap, both on the grid. Golsey's joined them as well, so 8th, 9th and 10th all on the grid. Promising start. Didn't manage to last one corner before they're in the wall. Ah, good. Spectator broadcast camera actually works now, thank goodness for that. Disqualified! Oh, spin from ZR Mercedes there, coming out of turn 8. On the formation lap, he's caught too much curb. He's almost done a Valtteri Bottas in China. Alright, just going to wait for these drivers to get into their grid positions and then we can get the 5 lights underway. Let's get on to Mr. Costa as he is front of the grid. Still got 2 guys on their formation laps. Here they come now. There's still one more driver we're waiting for. Who are we waiting for? Still waiting for Cloudy Balloons. Here he comes. Right, there we go. On come the red lights. 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And we're away. Don't like the way it took me immediately off broadcast camera there. ZR Mercedes looks like you got a very good launch off the line. You're going to be side by side with Mr. Costa into turn 1. Mr. Costa got to give him the room, does give him the room on the inside. That has the better traction line. And there's a spinner at the back in the Ferrari. I think that's Golsey at the back that spun. No, it's Antonios that spun in the Ferrari at the back of the field. So he's already last. Mr. Costa holds on to the lead. ZR Mercedes second. Sergeant Sway's got himself past Shumi Garcia and moves up into third. Jack Tyler's got off to a brilliant start and he's currently up in fourth and has just overtaken, round the outside of turn 4, just overtaken Sergeant Sway and is up into third from last on the grid. Jack Tyler now into third position. What a start that was. I wish I could get replay modes to see that. How he got from 10th to third, I don't know, but that move around the outside of turn 4 looked very nice. What's happened to Shumi Garcia? He's now down in 6th. Very poor getaway for him and he's almost lost it. Oh, almost lost it out of turn 8. He's dropped to P6. So at the moment we have Mr. Costa leading the race. ZR Mercedes in second. Jack Tyler 46th third in the Red Bull after starting lap. Sergeant Sway 4th, maintaining his position. Shumi Garcia has just come up to 5th, overtaking Cloudy Balloons. Sergeant Sway runs very wide out of the penultimate corner. And Golsey also forces his way past Hungary tadpoles as well in the second to last corner. Both drivers going a little bit deep, but Golsey manages to get the better line as we start lap 2 of 35. This is going to be a long one, strap yourselves in. 35 laps around a heavy raining Hungary. Mr. Costa still leads the way. Looks like Zella Mercedes is doing okay to keep up with him. But then there's a bit of a gap to Jack Tyler behind. As they come into turn 4. Oh, here we go. Battle going on for 6th between Cloudy Balloons and Golsey. Golsey's caught up to the back of Cloudy Balloons. Ferrari on Ferrari power here. Bad exit out of 5 from Cloudy Balloons. Bit of a ghosting going on there. I don't know what happened to cause the ghosting. Cloudy Balloons still holding on to 6th position. It looks like they were very, very close. Well, it'll probably be next week sometime. We haven't decided exactly on a date, but it'll be next week. And Mike, this isn't Grand Prix Rock and Racing, okay? At least there's some form of battling going on for 6th position here. 3 cars there for 6th. Let's see if the leaders are in any battle. Mr. Costa and Mercedes. Yes, they are a bit. Mercedes still very close to Mr. Costa. So now Mercedes goes fastest with a 136.6. So at the moment, lapping... Sergeant Sway, sorry, fastest with a 136.6. Zeta Mercedes right on the back of Mr. Costa. He might just have to go for a move, of course, with the dirty air. And slipstream not making as much of a difference as it did on last year's game. The moves are just going to be... Oh no, he's got too much curb into turn 2. He's spun it round, and Jack Tyler takes 2nd place. Sergeant Sway behind him 4th as well. Maybe this has spiced up a battle for 2nd now between Jack Tyler, Mercedes and Sergeant Sway. There's a move going on for 6th. Golsey could not get the move stuck on Cloudy Balloons. They were all side by side all the way down the straight. But Golsey thought better of it and pulled back in behind Cloudy Balloons, coming into 4. Not a wise position to try and overtake. Not a wise place on the track to try and overtake. There are better options available, especially into turn 1. Antonios is out of the race. Promising start from him. Not spinning into turn 1, but must have either ended up in the wall or given up. Of course, this isn't a competitive race. This is just to see where the driver's pace is and how the simulation damage works. Cloudy Balloons is out. Is that contact with Golsey that's caused that? I'm not too sure. Yeah, Golsey down in 7th. It's just gone up to 6th. I think Hungry Tadpoles has just let him through. So I don't know whether Hungry Tadpoles might have come in like a battering ram and taken both of them out. I'm not sure. I did miss that. Hungry Tadpoles again getting very close to Golsey as well. Yeah, Golsey's had to pit for a front wing, so Golsey and Cloudy Balloons making contact clearly. Along with Hungry Tadpoles. Being very cautious on the pit entry there, Golsey. It's lost him a lot of time. It's lost him the position as well to Hungry Tadpoles. And Shumi Garcia in 4th. But here we go. We've got a battle for 2nd here between Jack Tyler, Mercedes and Sergeant Sway. This has been going on from last lap when Mercedes lost the back end out of turn 2 by catching too much curb and lost his position to Jack Tyler. This has now allowed Mr. Costa to pull away a bit of a lead. There is Mr. Costa. Has Golsey got a drive-through? Let's have a look. No, just 2 warnings. He didn't have a drive-through. Golsey was doing like 2 miles an hour on the pit lane entry anyway, Mike. I just thought. Of course Golsey won't have a drive-through. Jack Tyler runs wide at the end of the middle sector. Side by side with Mercedes through the penultimate corner. Gets very wide, slides the back end out, Mercedes. And they hold on to positions they were in at the start of the lap. But Mercedes looks like he's got a great drive out of the final corner. He's going to sail his way past Jack Tyler, who is on a default setup as well, which surprises me that Mercedes flew past so quickly. Jack Tyler trying to hold it around the outside, a bit of a ghosting going on there. I don't know what caused the ghosting. No, the pit lane's 50 round here. Pit lane's either 50 miles an hour or 37, Michael. Jack Tyler running very wide. Sergeant Sway and Jack Tyler now side by side. I don't know why they're ghosting through each other when collisions are on. Consistent ghosting going on. Don't know whether that's an issue with the game or whether there's a permanent yellow flag somewhere. I don't know. But Mercedes has now managed to get second place after Jack Tyler's made a couple of mistakes. Sergeant Sway right on the back of him now as well. Very wide line there from Jack Tyler. He did say in the chat he does have a default setup on. There is bits of front wing there on the entry, on the exit of that corner, so that might have been from the cloudy balloons and Golsey incident. But Jack Tyler loses third position to Sergeant Sway. And Jack Tyler then dives straight into the pits. Cloudy just lost the back end and hit the wall. I'm a bit concerned at the fact that the other two drivers around him both had to pit for front wing changes though. See Mr. Costa leading the way. Shumi Garcia down at the back. I think he's left the session though. Well, that's the fact that he's AI, I'd assume he has. Impact Insec almost losing the back end as well. Yeah, having a lot of difficulty there in the rain. Impact Insec in the Sauber. Golsey in 6th. Hungary Tadpoles has stayed in front of him out of the pit lane. Next week, Anthony, we'll do other ones next week. Sergeant Sway's got a 4-second lead over Jack Tyler now as they come out the pits. So whether Jack Tyler had to change his front wing or whether he's made a mistake out the pit lane, I don't know. But Sergeant Sway's now got a big lead over him. As Mr. Costa leads the way. The fact that Jack Tyler's pitted. Oh yeah. Okay. I've just confused myself, don't worry. Will ignore me. So the moment is Mr. Costa 96 with a 5-second lead over ZR Mercedes in 2nd. Sergeant Sway 3rd, a further 2 seconds behind. Jack Tyler, who's pitted, 38 seconds off the leader, but he's the first driver to have pitted. Hungary Tadpoles 5th, 10 seconds behind Jack Tyler. Golsey 3 seconds behind him in the Ferrari. Impact Insec in 7th, a minute and 8 off the leaders. Just driving his own little race, really trying to get to grips with the car in the rain. This is a good test for all of these drivers to try and get the hang of the car in the wet. And Shumi Garcia, who has left the session at the back. Hopefully he doesn't hold up Mercedes. He is a ghost car anyway, so he should be okay. Yeah, no problems there for ZR Mercedes. ZR Mercedes keeping up with Mr. Costa out front. Only lost a 10th on that last lap. It was 5.2 at the end of the last lap. It's now 5.3 at the start of lap 8. I think he's pulling away from Sergeant Sway behind him as well. Yeah, there's a 3-second gap now to Sergeant Sway. It was 2 at the end of the last lap. It's just a shame that I feel like the gap is a bit too big between Mercedes and Mr. Costa for anything to come of that. Sergeant Sway seems to be going slower than Mercedes. Jack Tyler losing time as well. Hungry Tadpoles looks like he's closing in on Jack Tyler as well. Not really much for me to watch out for on track, so not sure what to do. Let's check the penalties while we're at it. It's good banter, that, Mike, you know. I approve of your banter. Somebody got... And it's Shumi Garcia, who's not in the session, who's on intermediate tyres. Why did I not spot that? Might be time for intermediates then for some of the front runners. Looks like it could get to intermediate conditions quite soon. Rain's not as heavy as it was earlier on. As out of the pits there is a Sauber. That will be of Impact Insec, who has pitted for intermediates. So he's going to go for the risk on the intermediate tyres. And okay, Mike, see you in a bit. Is anybody else going to make the pit for intermediates? Not out the front runners from what I can see. They're all still sticking to the full wet tyres. Impact, it looks like he's going pretty quick on those intermediates. It might be time for some of the front runners to change to intermediates. Impact looks like he's getting held up by Mr. Costa here. So we'll look at the middle sector time from both Mr. Costa and Impact, just so we can get the idea as to whether the Inters are fast. The Inters look faster, because Mr. Costa looks like he's struggling big time on those wets. Very wide open up the corner from Mr. Costa. Is he going to dive into the pits? Yes, he does. Mr. Costa's going to come in for intermediates. I'm assuming the entire rest of the field will follow him in. Yep, ZR Mercedes coming in. Sergeant Sway also coming in. Jack Tyler already on the wets. Tadpole on the wets as well. They're both going to pit this lap. And Golsey's already made the stop for intermediates. So the bottom three are on intermediates, and now the top three have just pitted for intermediates as well. Yeah, intermediate tyres on Mr. Costa. Now he can get the hammer down and fly. I don't know what the weather is looking like for the rest of this race. Whether it's going to get dry or not, I have absolutely no idea. Trying to check what number Mr. Costa has in the car. I think it's 22 he's got. It is 22, the number of Jensen Button. Sergeant Sway still not that far behind Mercedes. Mercedes lost a couple of seconds there on that pit-in lap, and getting a bit of lag as well, Mercedes. Something he needs to be aware of. A few minor lag issues. Hungry Tadpoles has Jack Tyler for companies. Hungry Tadpoles have got past Jack Tyler, unless he's just Jack Tyler stayed out on the wets. No, he's pit for Inters as well. Whether he had a front wing change or not, I don't know. But this is probably going to be the first battle we're going to see on track, is between Jack Tyler and Hungry Tadpoles. But they're still a couple of seconds away from each other. 51.4 to 52.8, so 1.5 seconds between them. Golsey a further 5 seconds down the road. And we're good to see what kind of lap time some of the front runners can now do now that they've fitted some intermediates on. That's alright, Cloudy Balloons. It's a trial race anyway. We're still very early in the cycle of the game. We've got another 3-4 weeks. We've got a few more to do. See how much faster these intermediates are for Mr. Costa than his wet laps. 4/10 faster than his 4/10 improvement on his PB in Sector 1 for Mr. Costa. I'm sure you'll be alright, mate. Just the more practice you can do, the better. .34.5 from Mr. Costa, so this is looking like a very quick lap. Looks like you can break into the 33s, 32s on those intermediate tyres. His goals, he goes personal best. He goes fastest of the session so far with a 1:34.6. Mr. Costa looks like he's about to trump that though on a very quick lap here. He does indeed. 1:33.4 from Mr. Costa 96. Zeta Mercedes is going to cross as well. Not quite beat Mr. Costa's lap. Mercedes with a 33.5, just a tenth slower. Less than a tenth slower. 400th slower. So these two seem very, very similar on their pace. Sergeant Sway doesn't seem too far off either. He's only 3/10 off on that lap. 33.8 from Sergeant Sway. Haven't seen what some of the other intermediate runners can do yet. Let's check the penalties as well, might as well. Just one warning for Mr. Costa. One warning for ZR Mercedes. One warning for Sway. Nothing for Hungary Tadpoles, well done. No warnings at all. 2 penalties for Jack Tyler. I know he's on a default setup, so he's probably understeering all over the place, but 2 penalties already on lap 10 isn't a good sign. Golsey also with a penalty. Impact Insect with 1 warning on the first lap and nothing since. And Shumi Garcia has left the session, so there's no point in watching him. He's just got an AI car driving him around. See what kind of lap time 4th and 5th did. Hungry Tadpoles 34.1 and Jack Tyler a 34.4. Especially amongst the front 3, the pace seems similar, and then from the rest downwards, their pace seems quite similar. As Golsey's jumped Jack Tyler, so Jack Tyler must have had to pit again. Unless Jack Tyler's fallen that far off the pace. Jack Tyler's out of the race. Don't know whether there was contact, whether he's lost it of his own accord, I don't know, but we're now just down to what is effectively 6 runners in this race. There's Jack Tyler on the side of the road just before turn 4. I'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what he puts in the chat, Cloudy. .1:32.6 from Mr. Costa. 8/10 improvement on his previous lap, so this track just seems to be getting faster and faster. 33.3 from ZR Mercedes. Ah, Jack Tyler was disqualified. Apparently. Seems a bit strange. You had 2 penalties. Why was he disqualified? He left the session and DNF'd, but the game says he's been disqualified. 33.5 from Sway, 33.3 from Mercedes, and 32.6 from Mr. Costa. The only problem being, Cloudy Balloons, is we can't move drivers around particularly because F2 and F1 are both full, and I don't particularly think you'll fancy being a reserve, in all honesty. F1 and F2 are mainly sorted on ability. F3, there's a mix, and also some drivers that just didn't make it in time to fill F1 and F2. And yeah, I know Cloudy Balloons, he's faster than a lot of the people in F1, just to give you an indication of his pace. So the lap times he's done in time trial are faster than a lot of the F1 drivers manage. .33.0, and another warning for Mr. Costa. He's only one warning away from a penalty, but he has just gone PB in Sector 1. 31.5, don't know if that was caused by a corner cut or not. Maybe he's an F1 driver in disguise. I'd be very concerned. I would wonder who he'd be, to be quite honest. He's Portuguese, so... maybe he's Tiago Monteiro? I don't know, something like that. Vandergaard for the banter. Well, he's Dutch, but I suppose. Let's get back and experiment with some of these spectator cameras. I'm still not sure whether any of these are any good. I'm still getting annoyed by some of these spectator cameras like I was on 2016. Nothing going on track at all, which is a shame. Oh, as we have Impact losing the back end out of 6 and 7. In the Sauber, getting a bit too excited on the curbs by the looks of it. I haven't seen Vandergaard's Twitter in about a year or so. Oh, Impact Inset making it very difficult for Mr. Costa to lap him there. Just lift off and let him go through Impact. There we go. Impact, where are you going? You'd very much be in trouble with me and Cliffy if you did that in the race, Impact. If you did that in a proper league race. Nah. All the suck my balls memes in Alonso on a deck chair. Alright, fair enough. Mr. Costa's lost a bit of time, obviously, trying to get past Impact Insect. Didn't make it easy for him. Oh good, they've still got the helicopter camera, that's good to see. I do like this camera. Golsey's catching up to the back of Hungary Tadpoles. The Hungary Tadpoles was pitted again. 2 stops now from Hungary Tadpoles. No, it doesn't look like he has pitted. He's lost some time. Golsey catching him. See, the Golsey's catching him. Let's have a look. 34.3, 34.8, 34.3, 33.9. 35.6, 34.1, 35.2, 34.6. So yeah, Hungary Tadpole's losing time. Golsey catching him quick to try and pressurise him for position 4. Hello, Wolf. Welcome to the stream. Nice lag spike. I don't know if it was me or Hungry Tadpoles. Ah, hello. Yeah, we got tomorrow. We got the F2 race tomorrow, and we got the F1 one on Tuesday, I believe. will be the same situation. Hopefully the F2 and F1 ones will be live streamed on the ERL commentary channel. I hope, anyway. And I don't know, Angel. That's for you to ask around and check. See how much goals he's caught up on Hungary tadpoles. Still 4 and a bit seconds between them. I don't think the gap's closing as much as it was earlier. Let's have a look. Hungary tadpoles, his last 2 laps have been 34.6, 34.1. Goals he's done 33.9, 34.1. So yeah, they both put almost identical lap times in last lap. They both put in personal best sector 1s as well. Hungry Tadpoles has really put the hammer down on this lap. 34.7 middle sector from Hungry Tadpoles. Gained him an awful lot of time. 34.6 though from Golsey. Hungry Tadpoles on course for a personal best though. I also approve of your driving number, Hungry Tadpoles. Same as mine. One minute 1.3. The gap between the two is 4.8 seconds. God, my maths brain was working there. Maths is my strong subject to school and I'm still shit at it. What's wrong with me? Mr. Costa now has a 9-second lead out front of ZR Mercedes. Sergeant Sway 6 seconds behind him. So these three seem to be fairly evenly matched at the moment. They're not too much quicker or slower than each other. Particularly Mercedes doing a brilliant job to keep up with Mr. Costa. That'll be myself and Michelangelo, who is the league owner. We will be commentating that tomorrow, as we are the normal F2 commentators. Golsey's lost a bit of time on Hungry Tadpoles over that last lap. The gap is now 5.8 instead of 4.8, so a second faster Hungry Tadpoles on that last lap. It's a shame because if he's pulling away, that completely destroys the only battle we would have had on track. Yes, it is, Angel. It's the same league, but we've changed the name of it. Gap's increasing between Hungry Tadpoles and Golsey. So Golsey... Either Golsey's dropping back off the pace, or Hungry Tadpoles is really putting the hammer down. Golsey's lap time still don't look too bad. He's doing consistent late 33, low... Yeah, high 33, low 34s. Hungry Tadpole's been putting in a 33.2 a couple of laps ago, and then a 33.6 and a 33.9. So those last few laps, he must have cranked up the engine and flown. He's properly pulled away. He wants that 4th position. Mr. Costa just minding his own business out front, just driving his own race, really. Look at the consistency in the lap times there. 32.7, 32.8, 32.9, 32.8, and then 33.3. Now the 32.6 in there, if you laps, a couple of 32.6s in there as well. He does indeed, Cloudy. It's just a noise. It's a normal race, but it's not a league race. It's just a trial race, so people can, all the people in this new tier can drive around with each other, know how they race with each other, get used to the game, get used to the track, all sorts of things like that. Sergeant's Way catching up to the back of the Sauber of Impact Insec, who is a lap down. Mercedes has already got past him, but it's 10 seconds off Mr. Costa out front. Jimmy Garcia's AI is still going around the track, 6.5 minutes off the pace, which is about 4 laps. Golsey's pitted again. Is he on for another fresh set of intermediates? Yes, he is. Oh, I'm not going to spoil anything for you then, if you haven't watched the actual F1 qualifying. Mr. Costa gets past Golsey, no issue, after Golsey's pitted for his final stop onto intermediate tyres. Doesn't look like he's going to dry out by the end of the race. But Mr. Costa's now lapped everybody up to 5th position. Impact NSEC has also now pitted for the final time to put on some fresh inters. Oh no, he hasn't. He's put medium tyres on. I don't know what his thinking was there. It's still way too wet. Impact Insect deciding to put on some medium tyres, have a bit of drifto fun on the medium tyres when it's way too wet for them. I don't know what he's thinking either. He was a lap down, so it might have been worth it. He just maybe wanted to take the risk, but it was way too wet for dry tyres. ZR Mercedes has caught up to Mr. Costa as Impact Insect calls it a day after he made the wrong decision to pit for dry tyres. And so he's now out of the race as well, just down to 5 legitimate runners in this race, as Shimi Garcia is AI. Golsey looks like he's doing quite well to keep up onto the back of Mr. Costa. Maybe he's trying to use him as a tow to try and improve his lap times, and maybe get the undercut in on Hungary Tadpoles. This isn't a league race, Angel. I have told you this. And it was his own decision to go out on the medium tyres. There's no stewarding in this race, as it is just a casual race for the people to get used to it. He just wanted to gamble, as Cloudy Balloons has said. If he's causing danger to other drivers, as long as he gets out of other people's way when they're around him, there's no issue with it. Which is what he has done. He hasn't caused any incidents, he's retired now. The only person he's impacted is himself. Yeah, it was way too wet, Impact. Do you know if it's meant to dry out by the end of the race? Because I have no idea from the spectator camera. Golsey's using Mr. Costa brilliantly as a little toe to basically follow him round. Getting the slipstream off at any available opportunity. He might be able to get past Hungry Tadpoles at some point quite soon. Hungry Tadpoles 8 seconds up the road. If he sits nicely behind Mr. Costa and Mr. Costa catches up to Hungry Tadpoles, he might get past him as he lets him through. Provided he can keep up with him, that is. But he has done at the moment. Last 3 or 4 laps he's been sat behind him quite comfortably. Oh, pardon me, sorry about that. Hungry Tadpole's lap times must be pretty good. I think Mr. Costa might be trying to save his tyres to 1 stop potentially. Again, consistency in the lap times though for Mr. Costa, but he is dropping off the pace a bit. ZR Mercedes also with consistency but lapping marginally quicker than Mr. Costa. Sergeant's Way a few tenths off the lap from those guys. Goldie's pace is looking very good at the moment. He's, as I said, he's using Mr. Costa basically as a toe to get him round. 33.1, 33.2. And then a 32.8 personal best lap for him. What do you mean impact? Would you... I know you... Was it something that happened on Formation App or was it into Turn 1 or whatever? I'm not sure. I quite understood your message. Oh, the full rev glitch is still a thing. Thank you very much, Go Masters. Get off of ZR Mercedes as soon as possible because that's annoying. Hungry Tadpoles has gone purple with a 132.1. So he's really putting the hammer down now. He's pitted. He doesn't want to lose that 4th position. 32.8 to a 32.1. By the looks of it, he did corner cut quite a bit on that lap though. 2 warnings on that lap. I don't have the time to host another race. I've got things to do after this, Cloudy. So, if you want to organise that with the other guys, then do that. I won't be able to host or commentate. I need to get offset on Mercedes. That's annoying. Interesting little orange helmet there on Hungry Tadpoles. glitch is actually the biggest pain in the backside in the world. The only thing I'm going to say, Cloudy, is you're in for a long wait if it's a complete rerun of qualifying. They were red flagged for about 3-4 hours, I think. It was about 3 hours they were red flagged for. Right, we'll be back shortly. Right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Oh, okay, you're watching Channel 4, so it is only highlights. You'll find that they had the red flag session red flag because of heavy rain for 3 hours or so. Oh, bloody hell, I didn't realise damage from the formation lap carried over. I crashed in the formation lap on a race yesterday and didn't get any damage. It's a bit strange. I've not had rear wing damage yet either. Oh, Mr. Costa massively losing the back end. And again, he's still got goals. He's sitting right behind him, brilliantly using him as a toe to get him round. As ZR Mercedes is catching by, I'd say, just under a second a lap on Mr. Costa. He was trying to take his tyres to the end with 6 laps to go. He's not going to manage to do it. Mr. Costa pitting. ZR Mercedes staying out. So ZR Mercedes will inherit the lead as he slides around the final corner. See what tyres Mr. Costa's pitted for. Intermediates. So he's just going to put the hammer down and leather it to the finish. Mr. Costa, he's got 6 laps of just flat out driving. 6 qualifying laps is what he needs really. He's now lost the lead and lost time. So unless that on Mercedes, he's going to need to pit again. He could have this race. Sergeant Sway's also made the pit stop. Looks like he's made a pit stop onto super soft tyres though. Again, way too early. Yeah, he's taking a risk onto the super soft tyres. I think it's going to be the same situation as what happened to Impact. It's way too early for that. We'll wait and see. It has stopped raining though, as I say that. So this decision might come good at the end of the race, but for now, it's way too early. Yeah, way too early for the dry tyres from Sergeant Sway. He could even have cost himself a podium position here because Hungary Tadpoles is going to be hunting him down quickly, like a Hungry Tadpole. Golsey's now been freed from the rear end of Mr. Costa. ZR Mercedes makes a pit stop as well, so this will allow Mr. Costa back into the lead. I don't think it's going to dry out in time for Sergeant Sway's dry tyres to be of any use, really. As there we go, into the lead goes Mr. Costa 96. As ZR Mercedes comes out. Is he on dry tyres as well? Yes, he is. ZR Mercedes on the super soft tyres again. I think this is a little bit too early. But this is a good indication for them to know when the track is dry, when the track is wet. I still feel like this is maybe a lap or two too early for the dry tyres. Yeah, sliding massively out of turn 2. ZR Mercedes hasn't got the grip on the dry tyres. So Mr. Costa should comfortably win this race, barring an absolute disaster. Yeah, ZR Mercedes has spun just before turn 4. Or just out of turn 3, sorry. Exit turn 3, he spun the car. Tried to follow Sergeant Sway, tried to make the same decision Sergeant Sway did. Turns out to be the wrong one. As this could allow Hungary Tadpoles into a podium position, maybe. These guys continue to struggle. Yeah, both the dry tyre runners really struggling on their super soft tyres. There you go, 31.5. So the intermediates definitely are the correct tyre to be on. 131.5 from Mr. Costa, fastest lap of the race. Personal best in all 3 sectors for him as well. He does have a penalty, but I don't think it'll make any difference by the end of the race, especially with the intermediate tyres still being the fastest compound. It'll be interesting to see whether the Hungary Tadpoles will catch this field up. As the last sector it was 13 seconds between Hungry Tadpoles and Sergeant Sway. Okay, sorry, no, it's 14 seconds. Sergeant Sway's lost the back end out of the penultimate corner. Hungry Tadpoles are going to catch him quick then. Running wide out of the penultimate corner as well himself, but not spinning like Sergeant Sway did. The car coming out of the pits. That is ZR Mercedes, who has... They're both pitted back for intermediates. They realised it was the wrong decision, and that has gifted Hungry Tadpoles a podium position at the moment. Golsey moves up into 4th, and Sergeant Sway now into last position. Catastrophic mistake from him to change those tyres. Mr. Costa going fastest again, 131.3. But now ZR Mercedes has got a task in his hands trying to hold off Hungry Tadpoles. His pace hasn't been too bad in this race, Hungry Tadpoles, when he's properly knuckled down and put in a lap. You can see his current personal best is a 32.1, which is only 8 tenths off the pace of Mr. Costa, who's at a 31.3. And ZR Mercedes currently has a personal best of a 32.5 in this race, but he is now on the correct tyres. Yeah, yep, will do, Impact. Good consistency in the lap times, to be fair. 36s, 35s. 34.2 on lap 18 was your personal best. And then mistakes were made. If you said you had rear wing damage for most of the race, then that's not bad going. Mr. Costa again with another personal best. 31.3 again. He's already done the 31.3, so he can't have improved by much. Improved by 1,000th on his previous lap. But only because he lost 3 tenths in the final sector. 131.389 to a 131.388. Oh, big slide for Hungary Tadpoles there. That's them losing some time to Mercedes in front. Mercedes a minute and 6 behind. Tadpoles a minute and 9, so there's 3.5 seconds between Tadpoles and Mercedes. Golsey a further 11 seconds behind, with Sergeant Sway 4 seconds behind him. Looks like it might be quite time to pit for dry tyres soon, but of course the race finishes in a lap and a bit's time. Mr. Costa about to start his final lap, so we'll go on board with him for his final lap of the race. The man who from early pace seems to be the guy to watch out for in this tier. Very quick on his time trial laps. In the top 10 around a few tracks, so faster than F1 pace. As we start the final lap of the race. See if the pace is dropping off due to the track drying out. Tyres getting a bit hotter. He's done a 31.8 last lap, so yeah, his sector times were all a little bit worse. 31.3 in the first sector this time around, so now might be about the time that the dry tyres would work. But with this being the final lap of the race, there is no point at all in risking it, because you won't be able to make up the time you lose in the pit stop. ZR Mercedes about to start his final lap as well. But Mr. Costa now into the final sector of the final lap. Over a minute ahead of anybody else in the field. The only person out of the front three, or sorry, the two guys behind him that were behind him the entire race, made the risk for the dry tyres when it was too early. Mr. Costa didn't, stayed out on intermediates. And it has won him the first pre-season trial race of ERL F3 for Season 3. As he puts it in the wall as he crosses the line for good measure. ZR Mercedes currently in second place, with a bit of a gap to Hungary Tadpoles behind by the looks of it. Yeah, 5-second gap. Sergeant Sway then some way behind, who has now got past Golsey, who has a puncture of the front right. Golsey with a front right puncture, tried to take his tyres a little bit too long into the race, didn't make a final pit stop. His last pit stop was on lap 20. Yeah, his last pit stop was lap 20, where he pitted for this set of intermediates, so he's taken these 15 laps and they've punctured on the final lap of the race. So that's going to be 5th for Golsey. And ZR Mercedes is now into the final sector as well, on a dry track. ZR Mercedes in the Mercedes crosses the line in second. Hungary Tadpoles in the Renault just behind in third. Sergeant Sway around the final corner is going to cross the line in fourth. Could have easily got a podium, but the decision to pit to dry tyres cost him that podium position as he puts it in the wall as well. And then Golsey with his front right puncture is just going to nurse his car back to the finish line to finish in P5 and last out of the classified finishers, due to Shumi Garcia leaving the session and having an AI drive round for the entire race. So yeah, there we go. Nice loading screen as we're going to get the podium. Yep, there we go. Mr. Costa, ZR Mercedes and Hungary Tadpoles on the podium. Mr. Costa in the Force India getting the trophy, even though his car's in bits on the pit straight. There we go. Mr. Costa wins ahead of ZR Mercedes, Hungary Tadpoles, Sergeant Sway, and Golsey. Rounds up the finishes with Max Verstappen, which was Shumi Garcia in 6th, DNFs from Cloudy Balloons, Antonios, and I can't remember the other guys in the race. Fuck's sake, I'm so bad. Impact Insect, obviously, as well, was in there. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you, hopefully, tomorrow.